Well, hey there, Gundam Maniacs. Welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. All right, you're diving into episode 2 of Iron-Blooded Orphans. Let's see what I think about it. All right, a cool little plot device used for episode 2 that I think is very helpful is where it kind of gets an excuse to show some more action. So where we left off on the first episode, we see Mikazuki show up in the Barbados randomly to take out the mobile suit that showed up to try to kill the daughter of the Prime Minister of Mars to kind of keep disruption on Mars. So then as it starts where it ended, it then goes into like 10 minutes earlier, I guess, kind of showing the background of Mikazuki and his buddy. All right, so it's Orga, the name of Mikazuki's friend. So we get some backstory here where we see that Orga tells Mikazuki what he needs to be doing moving forward, and we kind of get more of a relationship between the two. I guess Mikazuki is younger, but he will just trust anything Orga says and will do anything he says. It's like Orga's the brains of the operation. Mikazuki is that hero Yui, really. He reminds me of all the different Gundam protagonists. We have Garrett from Afterwar, where he kind of just resembles him, and then from Setsuna from 00, Hiro Yui, the kind of stoic, kind of, I don't care, but I'm going to do the right thing no matter what, and doesn't really care what people think about it. I mean, we get that all here. And we get some more interesting details, too, about the world. Again, what's really cool about this story is having this 300-year-old mobile suit from this old war that occurred, and the fact that they just have this, excavated, kind of operating on it. They put in the cockpit of like the newer machines in there to kind of get it to work. And those newer machines, and what we learned from the last episode, is that we see some of these soldiers or pilots with a contraption on their spinal cord. It's a way for them to interface with the cockpit of these mobile workers. So they've got that installed on this mobile suit, and it allows them to interface. We see this all the time with the Saikamu thing. Different Gundams do it differently. But this is kind of that space magic in here, is having that like contraption. Now, how they explain it is it requires children, right? The younger you are, the less the brain is developed, and allows the nanomachines to get in there and do what it needs to do to create that link between the mobile suit and the soldier. So it's interesting that there's a plot device here that is sort of used to kind of speak on that trope we see a lot in Gundam about the child soldiers, but it's almost like in order for the weapon to work the way they want to, it does require children. It's like this made-up justification in order to kind of base this in like a horror of war. And they do talk about how it could cause damage over time, and it seems like Mikazuki doesn't care. In fact, you see him suffer from this. You see him bleeding, you see the stress that it looks like it's on his body, and then you have the Prime Minister's daughters like, why would you do this to yourself? And he had an awesome quote there where it's, to save everybody. Like, he's almost showing like, he's willing to do this for himself because it's for everybody else. Like, it's that idea Gundam hero where it's like, no matter what, they're doing what they need to save everybody else. And he continues that battle from the beginning. We even have some sort of commander, general, soldier from Gallahorn kind of come down and face the Barbados. And when the Barbados speaks, sounds like a kid. And he's like, what, a kid? Again, kind of that classic Gundam trope here that kind of sets up the story. But because the Barbados was doing damage, just taking everyone out from Gallahorn, they decided to retreat, which was unexpected. They thought, hey, this would be an easy way to take out the Prime Minister's daughter of Mars, but it didn't work out. And then we see here Gallahorn Martian Branch 3rd Surface Base. So learning more about this Gallahorn faction, learning about these factions in general. So they do have a Martian base, even though there's this thing about Martian independence. And, I wonder if it's one of those things where it's like, Gallahorn is just an arm of Earth. And even though they're on Mars, it's kind of that occupation style thing going on where, yes, you do get people that were kind of born and raised, creating their own culture and identity of being on Mars, eventually tired of being occupied by someone else from somewhere else. I wonder if that's the closest thing we're going to get to Haro in this. And, we have one of the kids that, they were like mining or whatever. One of them got killed and they're making that a big deal. And just talking about, though, that's how he would have liked to gone out, crushed by metal or something like that, getting in a battle. And then we get one of those classic, reminds me of Unicorn, scenes of idealism being spoken about while piano music is being played in the background. There's a lot about this that reminds me of Unicorn. And It's, actually getting into halfway through the second episode. So far, I gotta say, I do like the serious tone of this, actually, compared to how it could be. It's what I like about UC, and this does it. All right, Orga is telling Mikazuki of his plan. He's all like, yep, I'm gonna do it. He even, makes mention of, he just hands him the gun. So, again, it's interesting. We're learning that Mikazuki just trusts Orga, this character, considerably. They must have a serious past. We kind of see that with the flashbacks. But does that end up being a way to take advantage of the hero Mikazuki is? Does Orga eventually turn? We see that happen in Gundam every once in a while, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And just a cool shot of the spaceships and stuff. I want to keep an eye on that stuff as we go, because just considering the vastness this takes place in, the fact that they're on Mars, there's trade routes, there's, that whole idea that's going on. I'm very curious about all the different technology we'll see, the ships, once we start maybe looking at colonies and stuff. And that was really all that I got out of that episode. It's interesting. The episode didn't seem to have a lot going on, but it did at the same time, because what it seemed to do was more of be a parallel to the episode before, and I mean in terms of time frame, because it kind of went back to show more of Mikazuki and his relationship with this mobile suit, in terms of what he's about, being a younger pilot but having that implant on a spinal cord, the idea of as a kid interfacing with the mobile suit, the nanomachines. It's like building out that part of the world building, but also setting up the relationship between Orga and Mikazuki before he goes out and battles. And then it's just And it kind of reminds me of the original Mobile Suit Gundam when Char comes across the Gundam and they're like, no way, this thing is incredible. It's kind of like, seeing Galahorn, go to where they did on Mars to do what they did. And when this Barbados comes out and does what it does, and then the fact that it's a kid, then they're like, whoa, we need to back off. It's a Gundam. So kind of doing that similar thing. And again, this episode a little slower, but again, it filled in things. It kept the tone going. So that's pretty promising for the rest of the series to me. Anyway, so that's about it. Let me know what you think below. Again, I'm enjoying where this is going, so if you have any thoughts, let me know. But until then, thanks to all the supporters that make this possible. Check the links in the description if that's something you're into, or even check the link to our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. But until next time, be cool.